Here's the latest on Tropical Storm Beta. 7 a.m. It had 60-mile-per-hour sustained winds, 70-mile-per-hour gust. North movement's down to 8. It was moving at 12 last night to the northeast. So it's slowing down and it's making that kind of westward transition, which is what we expected today. The forecast track does take it to the west as we go through today, strengthening possibly. As it slows down, it's going to be under a ridge with low wind shear. So they do have it becoming a hurricane possibly by Sunday going into Monday. That's when it gets towards the Texas coast. Really starts to slow down in here, almost stalls out near Texas, and then they have it making the turn. Now there's a big question in this forecast on, does it get into Texas and maybe move into Texas and dissipate? That's a possibility. Or does it stay over the waters and then make that turn possibly as a hurricane and then maybe weakening a tad as it heads towards Louisiana? Those are kind of the two scenarios at this point. Moving into Texas, dissipating, or heading towards Louisiana by the end of next week. Notice by Thursday they have it sitting just off the coast of southwestern Louisiana. That does mean New Orleans is in the cone of uncertainty right now. So that's the reason we're going to be following this very closely. We do have tropical storm watches for our coastal areas and for St. Mary going to the west, off towards western portions of Louisiana. Then you have a hurricane watch from Houston down towards the Corpus Christi area. That's where they could be dealing with hurricane conditions going into this weekend and really into the beginning of next week. Now with a slow mover, just like Sally, these are going to be big rainmakers, and it looks like this is going to be a big rainmaker for someone depending on the track. Notice from the Texas coast all the way into southeast Louisiana. Could be seeing some rainfall from this. On the high side over the next 7 days will be along the coast. Notice they're indicating possibly 10 inches or so, but as you get further inland, we have 3 to 6 inches over the New Orleans area, North Shore 3 to 6 inches, 2 to 4 inches for South Mississippi, and then there's your higher totals as you go into, let's say, Terrebonne and Lafourche Parish. Now, of course, this all depends on the track. This is certainly probably going to change around a bit. We've seen how that's gone the past couple of, month or so with the multiple systems we've been tracking. So it's just one of those things. We're waiting, we're watching it at this point. Now, here's why it's going to slow down and stall. We've got this high pressure ridge building north of it. That's going to slowly steer it into Texas. It's not a very strong ridge, so that's why we don't know if it's really going to get into Texas all the way. By Monday and Tuesday, though, that ridge starts to slide back off to the east, and then we get a trough coming down, and that's what will kick this thing back to the east and northeast if it's still there. If it dissipates, there's nothing to really kick off our way, but if it is, then we could see those impacts a little bit more heightened as we go into the middle and end of next week. One thing does seem certain, though. We're on the east side of a system that is heading towards Texas. We're going to have moisture just pumped up into the area as we go through really the next 7 days or so, regardless of what this does. Notice this model, here's the system, but you're still getting that moisture move back in. This model actually does move it back to the north and east with some dry air possibly getting wrapped up into it. That's why the National Hurricane Center has it potentially weakening as we go into next week. So there's still a lot of unknowns. There's still a lot of question marks, something we need to follow closely. We are going to see rain from it for the entire weekend. It looks like it's on the lighter side right now, but we'll keep an eye on that. And then as we go into Monday, Tuesday, maybe a little bit less widespread on the rainfall. And then Thursday and Friday all depends on what Beta does.